and this is going to be very controversial to say, marriage also is sex work, because a lot of women, what they're doing is women engage in marriage from a place where, okay, he's going to take care of you financially, and there's a home for you both to live in. What you are doing is you're fulfilling a role. So you're going to either be some sort of like homemaker, homekeeper, you're raising and rearing the kids. You are partnering with him and sleeping with him in the hopes that the trade-off will be that you get validation, love, and upkeep. And the man understands and believes that if he continues to fulfill that role for you, then the arrangement works, because marriage is an arrangement. Now, why I say it's prostitution is because whilst it's not necessarily on the surface, you're fucking for a transactional exchange, there's something that you're fucking for. And this is going to be...
Okay, that's a lot there to contend with. So the idea is that if a woman is married, then she's essentially a sex worker or a prostitute, which I personally think it's wrong. I don't believe in any of those aspersions or the way that she's categorizing it. I think it's a weird way to look at marriage. But what I've come to realize is everybody is entitled to their opinion. Like, if that works for you, if that's the way you see marriage, have at it. For women though, it is hard, right? Marriage is harder, I do believe, for women than men in a lot of situations, because it takes a toll on who they can be, right? In the sense that when a woman, if she's, pregnant, if she has a kid and stuff like that, it changes their lives a lot more than it'll change a man's life. In the sense that a guy can leave, right? Like, women can leave too, but not in the same way, right? Like, you gave birth to these kids, the attachment's a little bit different in that sense. But for women, they're attached to the kid, right? Like, it's not like you're the one breastfeeding. It doesn't work that way, right? It's not how it works. So their life, if they are somewhat independent, changes drastically when it comes to marriage, when it comes to having children, whereas men can still live a relatively similar lifestyle than they were living. And this is coming from a man with 2 kids. Like, it's a lot different of an experience for men than it is for women. And I understand that. I appreciate that. But I think that that's still a wrong way to look at marriage. It's a sacrifice for both parties. The sacrifice is a little uneven, and that's why I feel like marriage is a little scarier for women, because they're sacrificing a lot for a man to stick around, hopefully take care of the kids, take care of finances, take care of things. And if a man isn't doing all of those things, it can be very hard for women, right? And then in the society we live in, everything's kind of like 50-50. So yeah, it's an interesting conversation to have, right? Like, I try to think of it, right? Like, my man brain's just like, hell are you talking about? Like, this is, I try to take myself and be more, is the word objective about everything. I try to be more objective at, like, looking at it realistically, right? I can do a lot of the similar things. I can work out a lot similar hours. I can, my body doesn't take the physical toll that a woman does. I'm not going to say that the bed in the hospital is pretty hard. So, so you gotta, you gotta give it there. But, this lady, I just ran into her on, online, and she's had quite the presence as of recent. She's had quite a number of kind of hot takes, as you would say these days, a bunch of hot takes. So it's a very interesting conversation to have, for sure. And there's going to be a lot of backlash she's going to get for saying some of those comments, but I think it's a conversation worth having, right? feminism is there's different waves of feminism, right? Like there's different waves of feminism. There's people who are feminists, you know, hardcore feminists versus people who want equity for men and women. There's, you know, misandrists out there who, you know, these people just hate men, right? Like that, you know, that's their flavor of feminism. Whatever feminism that you are, more power to you. I do believe that for us to be more equal, for us to be more on the same page, it's going to take a little bit of give and take from both parties. And that's going to be hard to find in this clickbaity kind of society that we that we live in. All right, so let's listen to some more of our hot takes. I just found her. Her name is Slumflower. She's an ex-worker. So she's very interesting beliefs. So let's listen to some more of her interesting, more controversial takes, and I'll discuss some of it.
And when I think about, I don't want to be married because I've seen the ways that women get lost in marriage. They lose themselves. They lose their ambitions. Their life goes from being a woman who was chasing her dreams to being wife and mother. Once the woman becomes the wife, her identity is lost. First of all, she loses.
Which is what I kind of said, right? Which is what was the point I was making, which is like, yes, when the life of a woman versus the life of a man, it changes drastically. And as men, we've got to be honest about this. Like, you're not gonna sit there and be like, "Yo, oof," you know, I had to do all the diaper changes, breastfeed, and you know, if you have kids, you know that kids, for them to be in a healthy home, they need to be on like a kind of a regimen of like, hey, this happens in. They want food and don't have more than one kid, right? Like in the sense that your time changes, right? You're not you can't live la vida loca anymore, right? Like you've got to be a more responsible person if you want well-adjusted kids. If you don't want well-adjusted kids, then you know, do you, boo, you know? But all the good, great mothers out there, they do have to sacrifice parts of themselves. And I'm not gonna say men don't sacrifice parts of themselves too, but like the level of change that goes from being somebody who's independent without kids, even just being in marriage, right? Like versus kids, it's totally different, right? Like I've seen it firsthand, so I know that it can take a toll on you mentally, physically, emotionally, you know, and to maintain that aspect of, hey, I want to be a good mom, I want to be a good person, but I don't want to lose who I am. I don't want to lose the things that make me me. It's a struggle for a lot of women. And I mean, I don't think you need to be a feminist to know that changing your lifestyle and your routine to being, you know, selfish, right? You know, to it's I care about me, to now having to take care of life and people and beings and care about their upbringing, their learning, their childcare, their, you know, whether they're potty trained, like all of those things are very important. All of those things, they matter. And man, it's weird because when I watched the videos that she did, I felt like I was gonna come on here and be like a certain way, but then like I think about it in my personal life. Like right now, I'm able to do this podcast. Like I'm able to like be on, but my wife has to be in bed with the kids, right? Like I can put the kids down, but like if the youngest one wants breast milk or wants food, you know, these are nice, you know, these boys are nice, but they don't really produce what is necessary. So there's a sacrifice that she has to take to be present for our children that I honestly don't have to do. So not only is the bond different, but the sacrifice level is a lot different. So I understand that aspect of it, and I will never diminish that aspect of it. My mother's done it, my sisters have done it. So like I understand that aspect of feeling like, hey, I don't want to sacrifice who I am. So, it's it's one of those things where like I saw this panel that she was on this podcast, and she was going off on this guy, and they had like kind of like it was clashing. Like she was clashing with this guy, and he made some good points, she made some good points, but the problem was they were talking past each other. Right? It was like, I don't want to say they were purposely being purposely obtuse about the conversation, but it was like, I'm making this point, but you're making this point, and we're gonna pretend like our points don't intersect at any point. And and then there'll be some situations where like they're saying the same thing just in like different ways. Like, you ever had that argument where like you're like, yeah, you're yelling about your point and they're yelling about their point, and then you're like, are we yelling about the same point? So those kind of things do happen. So that was a lot of the podcast. It was very contentious, perfect for contentious conversations. But let's listen to a little more of the Slumflower as she goes by online, and let's see if you guys agree with some of her comments.
Her name, and she takes on the man's name. Women sacrifice so much more to be a mother than a man sacrifices to be a father. And when I think about the idea of motherhood, it's not worth me risking mental health issues. It's not worth me risking dying, because you can die as well. It's not worth me risking stopping my career, because I already enjoy my life as it is.
But you're saying dumb stuff. There's nobody.
You're the dumb person here. I'm not saying dumb stuff. I'm a Sunday Times #1 best-selling author, actually.
Please. You have a soul?
Okay, so like I was saying before, before they're about to get into it. They're about to get into it. All right. But before, the point she's making is the points I just made. Like, the sacrifice is different. But here's where I will disagree with her, is that like, women have been doing this since the dawn of time. Like, yeah, okay, yes, you can die, but you can die in a car accident. You can like, there's plenty of ways that people die, right? Like, civilization has to continue. You can opt out of that. Like, you can opt out of the gene pool. You can be like, all right, my cells aren't gonna reproduce themselves, and I can end my lineage here. That's your choice as a human being. That's where we are as a society now. You can make that choice. That's perfectly fine. But don't pretend like there aren't women out there that are happy and should be happy and would be happy to do that for their family, for the people they love in their life. It's just a weird, like, there's this thing that feminism does, which seems to make you have to be like angry and have an opposition, which, I understand, like, you have the opposition and there's something you're fighting against, but like, in reality, you have the freedom to do that. Do you, boo? Like, nobody's gonna be like, oh my God, she's choosing not to have a child. Like, okay, if you don't want to see your lineage and you don't care that your, genetic makeup is gonna be passed down to the next generation, I mean, I guess thanks for taking yourself out of the gene pool. Like, that's my thing, is like, I don't know why people try to force women into doing things that they don't want. Like, she doesn't want to have kids. Don't make her have kids. Like, obviously she would be a terrible mother. Like, in the sense that like, she doesn't want kids. If she has kids, she might be mean to them. She might not, like, you don't want to have here's one thing that I've realized is not everybody needs to have children. Not everybody should have children. That might be my most controversial take. Not everybody should have children, right? Like, there are some people that we should probably be like, yo, yeah, don't have kids. You should just don't have kids. You're not going to be a good parent. You're not going to be a good mom. You're not going to be a good dad. Like, just don't do it. Leave that to some people who have some more compassion in them, right? Like, she loves her life. She loves being independent. She loves doing whatever she does, right? Like I told you, she's like a ex-worker. So like, it's a little, her lifestyle, I don't believe is conducive to having children, having a family. That is not the lifestyle for her. So please don't make this person have kids, right? Like, some people just don't have the aptitude. Not everybody gonna be a doctor, right? Not everybody Just because, you have the tools don't mean not everybody. Some people, I actually prefer that she thinks this way so that her potential mate or her potential partner will know, all right, we're not going to do that. We're not going to approach that topic, right? But it gets more contentious, and this is contentious conversation, so obviously we're going to let this.
I'm listening. You have my full attention.
No, you don't have a soul.
But you have my attention.
I think you don't
I
like
am a
men.
misandrist. I don't like men.
Beautiful. Then
let's get to the point now.
Stop using feminism as a cover
can be misandrist
to
too.
What you
Feminists can be misandrist opinion.
I don't think you're a feminist.
I don't think that you're man enough to be having this discussion with me.
When you start going into ad hominem attacks and attacking people's like masculinity, that's just the sign of people who have poor debate skills. If I have to insult you, then I don't really have any points to rebut what you're saying. But my point for her is, yes, I agree with you that if you don't want kids, nobody should force you to have kids. This isn't the Handmaid's Tale, right? Like nobody should be like, oh my God, you should. Please exit out of the gene pool. Thank you you're doing society, humanity a favor by doing that, right? Like you're doing us a huge favor by exiting the gene pool and not having your cells reproduce, right? That's what you're doing. Thank you. Like we should be thanking people like this. We shouldn't be like, oh, thank them for doing this for us,
I don't believe a man is supposed to be a provider. It's something that an adult should do. You're an adult. You should be able to pay your rent. You should be able to put food in your mouth.
The pregnancy itself is not 50-50, right? The woman carries the whole child. She's the one who bears the risk of losing her life. The man's life doesn't really change after he has a child. He doesn't actually face the risk of death during childbirth.
Okay, but there's a bunch of things that he does that might face death, right? Like there's cops, there's firefighters, there's pilots, there's like all sorts of jobs that men do that they do face those type of dangers every single day without batting an eye. There's military people, soldiers, Marines, Navy, like there's plenty of jobs, oil rig workers. There's plenty of jobs that men do every single day that carry a lot of those similar risks. You have to do it once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, 4 times if you have a kid for 9 months. Okay. Cool. That's my big problem with it. Is like all of a sudden it's an existential crisis. It's not. It's you're giving birth, right? Like there's every time you get in your car, there's a chance you could die, right? Like let's be like every time you get in your car, you drive down the street, there's a good chance that you can die, right? The likelihood of you dying in a car crash are probably far greater than you giving birth. But is that going to stop you from driving cars? Is that going to stop you from getting in an Uber, right? Like I bet you're going to Uber to whatever party or after party you're going to go to, but are you going to be like, I can't do this because there's a chance of me dying today at this very hour? Like we make these things, these existential crisis-ish situations when, yes, I understand it's taxing on your body. It's taxing on your mind. It's taxing on your mentality. You can have mental health issues while you're doing it. Yes, but there are lots of things that men do that take on a similar set of risk scenarios, right? Like, so let's be honest. Like, people lose limbs in war constantly. People have mental health issues when they go to war constantly, right? But nobody's like, oh my God, never ever will we go to war. And people who say they don't want to go to war, people aren't like constantly shitting on them for making that choice. And I don't think women should be shit on for wanting to make that choice, but acting like, this is the end all be all and the end of the world is a little rich.
I mean, I've personally not met.
Women are already making a lot of money more than men. Women are making more money. Averagely, the average woman has more money than the average man.
Let me quote the statistics.
I don't know about that.
According to WGEA.au, the average woman does not earn more than men.
Thank you, Jesus.
Globally, women earn significantly less than men, with data indicating they earn approximately 77% to 83% of what men earn.
Women are
Yeah, I think women still earn, or men still earn. I think women still earn like 85% of what men earn in too. So, um, the pay gap is a lot different, but that there's certain factors that go into it. Everything isn't like men hate women, so they pay them less. That's like some women don't argue for raises very much. Some women feel comfortable where they are and they don't want to move up for certain situations. There's a lot of factors in it. And I'm not going to say, oh, some men don't hate, like there aren't some men out there that aren't like misogynistic and don't want women above them. Like that probably happens, right? But that's not the only causation. That's not the only factor in a lot of these situations. So, um, and men are usually willing to do more dangerous jobs than women are. And, women are making headway in a lot of like things like education, nursing. Like there's a lot of fields that are female dominated, right? And, that's life as we know it. Like, can we make it more equitable? Probably, possibly. But is it like the end of the world? Because I'm a man, I'm going to say no. Obviously. I'm a misogynist, duh.
Are beautiful across all age groups, and I just want us to be really careful about how we discuss.
No, you can't say men are. It's the equivalent of you saying all men are rich. No,
I didn't say all men are rich.
Delusion, man.
I didn't say all men are rich.
No. Women, if we're using your standards.
I'm answering your question about can he switch it out?
Can we say all men are rich?
Yeah.
Well, that's not the case, though.
No, but can we say all men are rich?
Okay, this is a weird part of the conversation because what they're trying to do is like she said that it was along the lines of women are always going to be beautiful. And he's saying at a certain age, right? Like at a certain age, like your beauty, your youth, like what men value in women is youth, the fertility age, right? Like a certain man who's ready for that. And men don't reach their potential until like their 40s and things like that, when their economic value matches kind of like their status, right? Like, because when you're a younger person or a younger man, you're still kind of working your way up. And for women, it's like the inverse of that, where the older they get, their perceived value in the grand scheme of things reduces. Whereas for men, it kind of raises up, and then it kind of like levels out as like men and women get to a certain age. And then, it's just wrinkle on wrinkle, right? It's on wrinkle on wrinkle action. So that's the conversation that they're having now.
Why would we say all men are rich? How did we go from beautiful to rich?
How can we say all women are beautiful?
That's how you view.
And they're not explaining it well. Or like they're talking past each other. They're not explaining the situations well. And maybe I might have a hard time explaining it. But you're arguing two different topics.
So a man can decide.
Equivalences. There's a false equivalence.
It's not a false equivalent. What she's saying is they're not arguing. They kind of checkmated her, but they didn't know how to put her in checkmate, right? So that was the problem.
And decide that he's rich in character. He's rich
for him.
Yeah.
He's rich in emotional intelligence.
You can't pay medical bills.
Yeah, so she's saying, oh, you can't pay medical bills with your good character. Well, they're saying that, yeah, at a certain point, women aren't as attractive as when they were like 20 or 30 or something. And she say, oh no, every age women have the beauty. And it's like, no, you do sort of age out. Like women have there's an age where you're the most fertile that you're gonna be. There's an age for all of these things, and it's not misogyny, it's biology. Like you can argue with God like at that point. Like I don't know what to tell you. And for men, right, their value, right, most men, if they're having a steady job, working in a certain field, their economic value kind of reaches its maturity around their 40 age, right? And these are just statistics. Like argue with stats. I don't make this shit up, so.
Pay medical bills with character.
Your beauty can be inner beauty, but you're saying that all women are beautiful, right?
And she didn't say all women are beautiful. She said women have a certain amount of beauty at every single age. And it's like, yeah, but you age out of that viability age at a, like a 60-year-old woman isn't going to have the same reproductive ability and as a woman in her 20s, right? Like that's the idea. So yeah, watch the full episode on The Honest Bunch. It was a good conversation. Got a little contentious there at the end, but it was a good conversation that they had, and it was interesting, right? Like I've never seen this podcast before. I just ran across it on my Twitter, and I was like, oh, okay, let me see this. And then that lady came on, the Slumflower lady, and yeah, it's very interesting. It's a very interesting conversation that they were having, and yeah, I recommend you guys go check it out. It's your boy Ty, Contentious Conversations, and